The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to today's call with your host, Craig Proctor.
Well, thank you very much, Andrea. Today, we are going to be talking about ongoing communication. And we're going to be talking about not only communicating with your prospects, we're going to be talking about communicating with your existing clients, those that you have currently listed and those that are signed to buyer contracts. And then we're going to talk about how to communicate with your past clients as well. We're also going to be talking about how to elicit feedback from your clients, and then how to use surveys to do that so we can get testimonials. So how do we use these surveys to get testimonials? And then how do we program our happiest clients to send us referrals? So there's quite a bit there to talk about. And what I did yesterday is I updated our coaching website and organized everything so you can get the most out of this. So I'd like everyone to go to the coaching website so I can show you all my hard work here, and we'll go through these items one at a time. So go to craigproctorcoaching.com and then go to resources, and we're on call 14, ongoing customer communication. So click on ongoing customer communication. And here we go. So what I want to do is take you through each one of these items. And you'll see in the bottom left-hand corner, it says attachments. So you might want to start downloading these attachments. And we'll look at these attachments one at a time. So prospect communication, client communication, past client communication, client survey, testimonials, and referrals. Okay, so these are the three groups that we're going to talk about here today. Just give everyone a few minutes to do that. Now, when it comes to communicating with your prospects, of course, nothing's going to replace using the universal callback script. Not only are you going to use the universal callback script on the very first call you make to a prospect, but if they represent future business and you're calling them back in 2 or 3 months, or you may be following up with them for 6 or 7 months or longer, you're going to continue to use the universal callback script. Everyone understands that, right? You're just going to change the intro. So every subsequent call you make with the prospect, you know, if it's call number 2 or call number 5 to them, it doesn't matter. You're going to start off by using all of the probing questions in the universal callback script. Instead of saying, you know, hi, it's Craig Proctor with ABC Realty, and the reason I'm calling is in response to your request for whatever, when you follow up with them, you would say something like this. You know, hi, it's Craig Proctor, and I talked to you a couple months ago. If you remember, you had requested whatever, and I just wanted to follow up and see how things were going with your moving plans. Then you're going to get right into those same probing questions. Okay, we always want to use the universal callback script in every subsequent call because those probing questions are going to help us reconfirm their motivation and timing. Okay, that's the purpose of every additional call. And if they're not ready to buy or sell now, then we're going to book our next call in half the time they indicate. Now, none of that should be new to you, right? You all know that. Okay, but are you doing it? Right? There's a big difference between what you know and what you do. Okay, now, the point I'm making here again is nothing's going to replace those individual calls that you make using the universal callback script over and over and over again until they either tell you to go away or they book an appointment with you. What other things can you and I send out to prospects, though, in addition to the personal phone calls that we make? All of you should have a newsletter. You should just copy my newsletter. My newsletter is a good newsletter. My newsletter is full of information that will interest them. How do I know that? Because that's why the prospect responded to us in the first place, is they were in search of information. So the newsletter is stuffed with articles and information and offers that would be of interest to real buyers and sellers. It's a direct response newsletter. So I might offer a list of distress sales in the newsletter, or tips on how to price and prepare your home for sale. What I'm trying to accomplish with the newspaper, two things: create reciprocity and awareness, of course, because they're getting it every day in the mailbox, but also, wouldn't it be great if we could get the buyer or seller prospect to raise their hand and request additional information? You know, what's better than getting the prospect to respond once to our marketing is to get them to respond a second time or a third time. So that's the goal. Now, most of you on the call do not have a newsletter. Even though all you have to do is copy mine, you haven't done that. And perhaps you haven't done it just because you figure it's a little bit of work. It's really no work. All you have to do is call my printer, BXL Printers, and they'll print it up. You should have a sponsor or sponsors pay for the newsletter. You can get your lender, title companies, different affiliates to advertise in the newsletter and cover the cost of printing the newsletter up. Some of our coaching members actually make a profit on their newsletter. Okay, they make more money on the newsletter every month, on the advertising of the newsletter, than what it costs them to print it and mail it out to their prospects. At any given time, I had over 1,500 prospects receiving my monthly newsletter. You might want to use voice broadcasting as a method of calling around your newsletter. I would use voice broadcasting a day or two before I mailed the newsletter out, before I mailed Market Watch out. I'd call a day before using voice broadcasting saying, "Hi, it's Craig Proctor. Sorry I missed you. Just want to let you know I've mailed out my monthly newsletter. On page 3, you'll find this, or on page 5, you'll find this." I would talk about some of the offers in the newsletter. And if you have any questions, you can visit me online at craigproctor.com or call my office at. Just a nice, short, sweet message. And they tell us that if you call around your direct mailings, you'll get 2 to 3 times the response, and I believe that to be true. Now, the Market Watch newsletter should be sent to your buyers and your seller prospects. Okay, it can be sent to both buyers and sellers. But also remember, your buyers should be receiving your VIP buyer emails. Okay, you should be emailing your buyers daily updates of all the homes that match their criteria, so that's another way to keep in touch with them. And then for your golden sellers, we have the gold plan mailings. Again, many of you on the call haven't done anything with those mailings. We talked about this really early in the coaching program, but I created, if you remember, 12 direct response letters that would go out to golden sellers. Who's a golden seller? A seller that the first time you talk to them tells you they're going to be moving, and they're very specific as to why and when. You know, I'm going through a divorce, or I bought new construction, or I've been transferred. There's no question that these people are going to be selling their home, and you know why, and you know when. So my argument is can't you and I spend a bit more time and money on the golden prospects? Absolutely. So just a reminder that you should download those gold plan mailings. You should create an activity plan in your contact management system, and you should be dripping on your golden sellers every single week with these really good letters that create reciprocity. And one thing for sure is they're not going to throw these in the garbage because it's useful information, and they're not going to forget about you. Okay, so even if you don't call them at the right time, there's a pretty darn good chance that they're going to contact you when they're ready to list their home for sale, because you've created reciprocity and you've created top-of-mind awareness. So those are the different strategies that I'd like all of you to use when it comes to communicating with your prospects. Okay, so if you do a good job of communicating with your prospects, what then should happen? They become clients. Okay, so what do we want to do with a client? We want to create a raving fan. And the beauty with my system is that, you know, unlike, say, a Mike Ferry program where you spend 80% of your time hunting down people, if lead generation is easy, which it should be if you do everything I suggest, then I would argue you're going to have more time to actually spend with your clients because you don't have to spend an enormous amount of time finding clients. Does that make sense? Using old school techniques, most realtors spend 80% of their day trying to find somebody to help. Well, because you are now using my automatic lead generation system, clients should come to you in an easier way. You should spend maybe 20% of your time acquiring clients So you now have 80% of your time to actually take care of them. So if that's true, if you now have much more time to take care of your clients, shouldn't you be doing a better job of producing raving fans? And if you produce raving fans, we want to make sure that you leverage off of that. So how can you leverage off of a happy client? You want to make sure that you have a system to get testimonials. What does a system mean? A system means it happens all the time. If you've got a raving fan, you've got somebody happy, you get a testimonial, and more than just getting the testimonial, we want to talk today about actually using the testimonial. And you want to program these happy clients, these raving fans, for referrals. So when is the best time to ask for referrals from your buyer and seller clients? It's not when most of you think. It's not at the end of the transaction when their home is sold. It's at the beginning of the transaction. The very day that the seller signs the listing agreement with you or the buyer signs the buyer agency agreement with you is the very best time to ask for or program your brand new clients for referrals. I'm going to argue they love you the most right then because they've just entrusted. I mean, this is going to be their biggest asset, whether it's a sale or a purchase. They've entrusted it with you, and now is the time that you want to plug yourself into the natural conversations that your clients are going to have, whether you do this or not. Does everybody understand what I'm talking about? When you're at the seller's house, you want to program them to send you referrals, and we'll talk in a minute about how exactly to do that. But the seller, your seller, the very next day is going to go to work and tell everybody at work that they're going to be moving. They're selling their home. They've listed their home. They're talking real estate. Guess what? If you're smart, you plug yourself into those natural conversations that they're having with all their coworkers. The for sale sign is going to go on their lawn in the next day or so, and they're going to be talking to their neighbors and their friends and their relatives about their moving plans. You want to plug yourself into those natural conversations that they're having. So I say this again, whether you do this or not, your clients are having these conversations. You'd be foolish not to plug yourself into these conversations. Now, I have a referral card that we're going to give you. If you download that, it says referrals, you'll see the referral card. This is a prop that you can use, and I'm going to show you a little later on the call the exact language. I've typed out the exact language that you want to use. Once you meet with the seller, you get the listing contract signed. I'm going to share with you exactly what you should say. You can print that script off and just use it. Okay? You can print the referral cards, the props off, and just use them exactly the way they are. Now, once someone has sold their home with you or they purchased a property, we send them a survey and we send them a congratulations letter and we create further reciprocity. I actually give them a free dinner, a gift certificate to a restaurant for a free dinner. It's a $50 gift certificate, and this creates reciprocity. It increases dramatically the chances of them taking the time to fill in the survey that I send them and mailing it back to me. Okay, we want to get these surveys filled out. We want them back because we want to get better, right? So we're going to show you what the survey looks like. I want you to copy the survey, and I want you to start to use the survey. Now, as far as the $50 gift certificate to the restaurant goes, I didn't pay anything for that certificate. That's something you can negotiate with a local restaurant. I found a restaurant that had great food, but it wasn't in a very good location. That's what you're looking for, a restaurant that has great food, great service, but they're not in a very good location. Now, every time you sell a house, whether it's a purchase or a sale, if your client gets this free $50 gift certificate, they go into the restaurant. If it's a nice restaurant, they're probably not going to go by themselves. You explain to the owner they're going to spend way more than $50. They might spend a couple $100. Their certificate, by the way, didn't include alcohol. It didn't include desserts. But I explained to the restaurant owner this whole idea of the lifetime value of a customer. What I explained to the restaurant owner is this. Once someone comes into their restaurant that's in a bad location, and they realize that they do have great food and great service, this customer now comes back over and over and over again. So I want them to look at what a customer is worth to them. And the guy that owned Lee Spiegel restaurant in town figured out that the lifetime value of a customer is worth about $350. So it was worth his while to give away these $50 gift certificates to me, because he's going to make, on average, $350 each time he does that. So it helps me, but it also helps him as well. Now, the worst thing that can happen when we take on a listing, of course, is it doesn't sell. Okay, the listing expires. It happens to everybody, myself included. So what I do in that situation is I try to neutralize them. I don't want anybody unhappy. I want to do my very best to neutralize them. I may still give them the $50 gift certificate. I have a letter that will show you that goes out to expired listings. Basically, I'm trying to take the blame away from me and blame it on the market. That's what I'm attempting to do. In other words, it's not my fault. It's the market. It's not your fault. It's not my fault. It's just the way it is. And we're going to try to neutralize anybody that's unhappy. So when you get these surveys back, some of them are going to be raving fans. Okay, I call these surveys, they're either kind of neutral, okay, or they're extreme. A neutral survey would be somebody that says, like it was okay, I was satisfied. But they're certainly not raving fans. But you're going to have raving fans, and that's what we want to strive for. These are the people that absolutely love you. Those are the people that are going to give you the best testimonials. Those are the people that are going to give you the most referrals. So you want to leverage off of that. When we get the surveys back, I want to find out what the heck did we do? Let's look closely at this survey, because what did we do to create such a raving fan? What did we do that was so right? Why? So that you and I can try to duplicate what went so well. Now, the opposite of that is every once in a while, you and I are going to get extreme negative surveys back. Okay, these people are, they're not just not satisfied, they're really not happy at all. So we want to neutralize this, and we want to study what happened to this buyer or seller so we can correct the processes, the systems that we have internally to make sure that whatever mistakes we made, we're doing our very best to ensure that those mistakes aren't going to happen again. Okay, so what I'm saying really is when you and I send these surveys out, we want to make sure that we actually do something with the information. If they're unhappy, we don't want to just say, well, that guy was just a grumbler. If certain things in your business are coming up over and over again, certain deficiencies, certain things that your buyers or sellers are unhappy with, don't you agree that you'd kind of be sticking your head in the sand not to address those? So once we know that there's a problem within our business and it seems to be repeated over and over again, we need to go to work to fix that problem. And we need to, in turn, study what's working well and try to even improve the things that are working the best. And that's how my retention, my referral business started to really increase. I started to actually pay attention to this. And I started to manage my systems. And I started to really study the experience that my clients were having. Well, guess what? You don't have to reinvent the wheel. All you need to do is just copy what I have here for you. So let's next go to, let's look at prospect communication. Let's open that one up first. We'll go through these one by one. What I've done here for prospect communication is I've given you some of the cover letters that go out when prospects request specific information. Okay, now you can just model after these or knock them off. The first one is just a generic letter. You can use this cover letter when you're sending out any one of my free special reports. So it says, "Dear John, enclosed is your free copy of this special report that you requested. I know that you'll find it helpful in consideration of either a purchase or sale of a home." So I'm not going to read all these to you, but you've got them. If you go to, you might want to put this on 75%. Let's just do that. We'll set this at 75% because we can make, yeah, that's good there. So let's set your Adobe Reader at 75%, and we'll scan through these letters quickly. The next letter, it says, "Dear John, thank you for your interest in a free service that provides you with area bank foreclosures." The next letter says, "As per your request, I've enclosed a list of the most current properties for sale in Newmarket and Aurora that include in-ground swimming pools." The next letter says, "Thank you for your interest in our free service. Find out what the home down the street sold for." The next one, "Thank you for contacting me for either a quick over the phone or over the net home evaluation." The next letter says, "A few days ago, you contacted me to request my free special report. Find out what the home down the street sold for." The next one says, "Thank you for your interest in our free service that provides you with information on 10 best buys in your chosen areas." Okay, so those are all cover letters that are going to go out with specific information. Why did I include those? Because I don't think some of you are using them. And I've seen some of the cover letters that others are using, and they're not very good. So I just wanted to include some of those cover letters that are going to go out with the hot lists of properties or the special reports that prospects are requesting from you. Some of you, by the way, aren't sending any cover letter at all. So you know what I mean? If the prospect asks for a list of distress sales, you just simply send them a list of distress sales. Don't do that. Your cover letter is your big opportunity to brand yourself, to explain to the prospect, here's who I am, and here's why I'm sending you this information. You requested it. And then you want to make some kind of offer. Call me for a free evaluation of your home, or call me to get more information on homes that would match your criteria. Once you get the prospect to raise their hand, you're no longer trying to fly underneath their radar. You're trying to fly right into their radar. Does everybody get that? Once you get the buyer or seller to raise their hand, then you're not trying to hide that this is coming from you anymore. It needs to be all about you from that point forward. So model after those cover letters that you're going to send out with the information that the prospect requests. Now, if you go down to page 8 of 13, page 8 and page 9, just look at your Adobe Reader there, page 8 and page 9 are cover letters for your newsletter. Same deal here. You're not going to just send out the generic newsletter. The cover letter that goes with your newsletter is going to brand you. Okay, this is where you're going to personally speak to that prospect. It's a cover letter for the newsletter. It does two things. It lets them know who you are, what you're sending them, why you're sending it to them, and it baby steps them into reading the newsletter because you're talking about, what's inside that Market Watch newsletter and why they want to read it. Okay, now scroll down to page 10. Page 10 and page 11, page 12, and page 13 is the Market Watch newsletter. So these are all created for you. What's the old saying? You can lead the horse to water, but you can't make him drink. They're created for you. All you have to do is knock them off and then get a couple advertisers to pay for it all. Okay, go to page 13. If you go to page 13, at the top of page 13, it says real estate lawyer. Okay, how to avoid costly legal mistakes when buying or selling a home. Notice that this is being offered by my real estate attorney, Jack Lorian. Now, if you don't have real estate attorneys close those transactions, then you're going to use your title company as an advertiser. Look at the mortgage broker to the right of it. How to buy a home with absolutely zero down payment. Learn how you can qualify by calling Bill Eves, mortgage specialist, and his number. Okay, so that is the first attachment. So let's close that down. Let's look at the next attachment. Everybody know where I'm at here? Go to the left of the coaching page. By the way, for those of you that called in late, first of all, shame on you. We're on call 14, ongoing customer communication. And if you go to the coaching site, you know how to do that, right? Go to resources and then click and then go to today's coaching call, which is ongoing customer communication. You'll see the attachments in the bottom left-hand corner. I want us next to go to client communication. Okay, everybody click on client communication. Okay, we'll give everybody a minute to do that. Okay, client communication. There's a lot of you on the site right now, so it might take a bit. And then we're going to go through past client communication. Okay, on client communication, again, let's bring this down to 75% so you can see the entire page on your screen. So I'm on page 1. The first letter that would go out, if I don't get the listing that particular evening, would be a letter that would say, "Dear John, thank you for granting me the opportunity to explain how the Craig Proctor home selling system would work in getting your home sold." So it's a nice little follow-up piece here. I'm going to recommend that you do this. So let's say that you go out tonight to meet with a seller. They're interviewing realtors. For whatever reason, you're not the last one in, or maybe you are, but they don't list with you that night. Follow up with a nice personal letter. Why does it work? Because nobody does this. You know, we'll call, we'll email, but it's a nice touch. Follow up with a personal letter. If you want to make it even better, handwrite it. Let's go to page number 2. Now, when somebody lists their home with me, this is the first letter that goes out. So this letter is programmed right into my contact management system. So this would go out day 1 when I list a home. I'm not going to read it all. You folks can read, but you can knock this off. Use what you can for your own business. But you should have a letter that goes out to your sellers that explains, first of all, you want to reinforce what a great decision they made. Okay, because even sellers get buyer remorse, right? They're selling, but what did they buy? They purchased your service. So look at that first paragraph. Thank you for entrusting us to represent you in the sale of your home. Our goal is to sell your home fast and for top dollar. Okay, now I want you to scroll down to page 3. Actually, let's go to page 2. Go to page 2. At the bottom, see where it says, here's a review of week 1. Within 48 hours of listing your home, we sent pictures and detailed information of your property out to every real estate agent in the Greater Toronto area. That's approximately 22,000 realtors. Now, I'm making a big deal. This sounds like a pretty big deal. Wow. Craig sent pictures and detailed information of my home out to every real estate agent in the Toronto area. Well, you and I know that's called putting it on MLS, right? So I'm putting it on MLS, and I'm making it sound like a really big deal. Next point, full color feature sheets have already been delivered to your door for showing agents to give to their interested prospects. Next point, by now the for sale sign has been placed on your property. You will either see our trade up program sign where we offer to purchase the buyer's home if they move up and buy your home, or buy this home for no money down sign where we advertise our low financing program. Your home has already been loaded onto several top real estate websites, including craigproctor.com. Your home is also introduced at our company's weekly sales meeting. We will continue to work with all area real estate reps to encourage their cooperation in the successful sale of your home. Working together gets your home sold. Okay, now I'm on page 3. It says our goal is to give your property ultimate exposure and to find that one qualified buyer. Well, your property is on the market. We ask you to remember to do the following. Number 1, keep your property in showing condition. Number 2, keep feature sheets in a prominent location in your kitchen Number 3, call us if you have any changes or to let us know about anything that will affect the ability to keep your property available for showing. Okay, so I want you to have a letter that goes out the day you list their home. This is a good letter to model from. Okay, let's go to page 4. Okay, we're on client communication, second link down under attachments, and go to page 4. I think you're going to like this idea. This is a letter that's going to go out 30 days after they list with me. Now, again, it's programmed right into the contact manager. So at 30 days, it's going to pop up on my assistant's screen. She needs to send this letter out. So my assistant, obviously, the first thing she would check is, did these sellers, have they reduced their home in the last couple of weeks, in the first 30 days? If the answer is no, this letter goes out automatically. Let me tell you why I created this. If you're like me, phoning your sellers and asking them for price reductions is not something that we look really forward to doing. So what do? We have a tendency to procrastinate. You know I should call the seller. I know it's overpriced. I know I need to confront that issue. But because it's not a pleasant issue, what do we have a tendency to do? We put it off and we put it off. And, a couple of weeks goes by, and then the longer we put it off, the harder it is to make the call, and the less receptive the seller is. And then, we see them at the local mall, and then we hide. We hide from them. So look, knowing myself, I invented a little system to make sure that at the 30-day mark, the pricing issue was being confronted. So if I knew myself that I was going to procrastinate from calling the seller at the 30-day mark, why don't we send out a letter that gets the seller to call you and I? Because if they call you and I at the 30-day mark, the issue must be confronted. We can't avoid this discussion on pricing. So here's the letter that I created that goes out at the 30-day mark. Again, this is all about communicating with your existing clients. A few minutes ago, we talked about communicating with your prospects. This is all about communicating with your clients. So here's a seller. You listed their home a month ago. It's not selling. This is the letter that's automatically going to go out. Dear John, your home has now been on the market for over 30 days, and since it is not already sold, I feel we should review what has happened in the last month. I can provide you with specific information as follows. Number 1, the total number of agent and buyer showings on your home, along with individual feedback. Number 2, the advertising schedule used to expose your property to qualified buyers. Number 3, a review of our computerized printout detailing recent listings and sales in your area. Number 4, my advice and experience to the appropriate next steps. Any guesses on what my advice might be? Of course, reduce the price. And number 5, answer any of the questions or concerns that you may have. And then I give them my phone number. Okay, so this works really, really well. So I'm going to recommend that you all do that. You have a little system in place that causes sellers to contact you at the 30-day mark if they haven't already reduced their price. Let's face it, if it's been on the market for 30 days, you're not getting any offers, it's time to talk pricing. Now, if they're getting lots of showings or you've just reduced the price, you or your assistant can decide not to send that letter out, right? You just don't send it out. But at least this issue will be confronted at the 30-day mark. Let's go to page number 5. Page number 5 is a letter that's going to go out when their home actually does sell. Please accept my congratulations on the sale of your home. I hope that you've enjoyed working with my home selling team, and we made your home selling experience as easy and as enjoyable as possible. Now, here's where we talk about the survey. Please take time to fill out the following customer survey. Your opinion matters to me, and it's through surveys like this that I'm able to determine our customers' needs, which enables me to continue to fine-tune our systems and services. I've enclosed a self-addressed stamped envelope for your convenience. The highest compliment that I can receive is to be referred to you by a future home seller or home buyer. If you know of anyone who is thinking of selling or purchasing a property, please pass along my name. We appreciate your business and the confidence you've shown in our skills and services. Thank you again for entrusting both me and my team to represent you in the sale of your home. Okay, so I'm going to show you here the survey in a few minutes. But there's a survey that would be enclosed with this letter. Now look at the PS. PS, enclosed you're going to find a $50 voucher for La Spiga Italian restaurant in Newmarket. Please enjoy a fine evening with the compliments of La Spiga and myself. So again, we're creating a little bit of reciprocity. I'm sending them the congratulations letter. In the congratulations letter is the survey with an envelope that has a postage paid, self-addressed envelope. All they have to do is fill out the survey, put it in the postage paid, self-addressed envelope, pop it in the mail back to us. And I'm creating a little bit of reciprocity, or should we say guilt, being really nice, right? Congratulations. Here's a survey. We want to know how we did, and I'm giving you a free dinner. And that free dinner can't hurt, but, you know, entice them to take a few minutes to fill out that survey. Let's go to page 6. Page 6 is the letter that goes out if the home expires off the market. Now, remember, I talked about this a little earlier in the call. I'm trying to take the blame off me and place the blame on the market. And that's what the letter says. Dear John, I want to thank you for listing your home with the Craig Proctor home selling team. I regret that due to market conditions, we were unable to sell your home. Should you decide to relist your home, we'd be very eager to have a second chance. So not Craig's fault, it's the market. So you might want to try something like that. You want to neutralize who, you know, could be an unhappy seller. You didn't sell their home because you may get a chance at them again if they decide to relist their property. And you certainly don't want them running around town saying negative things about you. So we want to neutralize them at best, or hopefully compel them to want to do business with us again in the future. Now let's go to number 7. Page number 7, this is our final page in this attachment. This is a congratulations letter for buyers. Congratulations on the purchase of your home. I want to thank you for allowing us to represent you in the purchase of your home. Enclosed, please find a gift certificate for La Spiga Italian restaurant in Newmarket, compliments of the Craig Proctor home selling team and La Spiga. We truly appreciate your business and hope you'll recommend our services to your family and friends. Wishing you many happy years in your new home. Sincerely, Craig Proctor. Okay, let's shut down that attachment now, and let's go to the next one. Okay, the next one's past client communication. Okay, so we've talked about so far about how to communicate with prospects and how to communicate with clients. So next we're going to talk about how to communicate with past clients. Give everybody a minute to do that. And I've got a newsletter for past clients called In-House. You'll see there's only 2 pages in this attachment. If you take a look at, put it on 75% again, take a look at page 1. This is my in-house newsletter that goes out 4 times a year to past clients. Why not monthly? Because I don't want to be a nuisance. Send it out once a season, 4 times a year. So this is the summer issue, see in the top right-hand corner. So I have a newsletter for my past clients. Now, I don't know if you can see it right at the bottom of page 1. It says, your referrals are the lifeblood of our business. We help build our business only with your help. Our goal is to provide all of our customers with a level of service they've never experienced before. Your success is our own. It is our sincere hope that after the experience you've had working with our team, you will be thrilled enough with our service and expertise that you'll tell your family, friends, and neighbors about us. Your referrals are critical to our growth. Without them, we'd have to spend an enormous amount of time looking for new clients. We'd rather spend our time servicing our loyal clients. If you know of somebody who could benefit from the services we provide, please fill out the referral card on the reverse, mail it to our office. And thank you for your continued support. Okay, if you scroll down to page 2, you can see the hassle-free referral program. Craig, I think these people could use your trusted advice and counsel about either buying a home, selling a home or getting a mortgage, and they fill in their information and send it out. Now, if you're doing a good job with this, you're going to get a couple of these in every week, at least every month. Let's say you got one a month. That would be 12 referrals in a year. What did it cost you? Nothing. You're just doing a better job of asking and programming your clients for referrals. Okay, let's shut that attachment now and go to the survey. Okay, let's go to client survey. Have everybody look at that survey. Okay, again, go to 75%. I'd like to be able to see the entire page on my screen. Client survey for Craig Proctor. We are very much interested in your opinion of our services. Please take a moment to fill out the following survey. We're going to make it easy, right? People are lazy, so we're going to make it easy. From 1 to 5, 5 being excellent and 1 being unsatisfactory, please rate the following. Number 1, your weekly feedback call from our customer service coordinator, Tammy Johnson. How do you rate that between 1 and 5? 5 being excellent, 1 unsatisfactory. Question 2, was our office staff courteous and helpful? Question 3, was your agent, remember it's not me they're meeting, many times they're meeting my outside sales agent. If it's you, then you're going to put in your name. Was your agent able to answer all of your questions in a timely fashion? Question 4, how would you rate your agent's level of experience and professionalism? Number 5, now we want them to actually write this answer in. Number 5, if there was one thing that could be improved upon, what would that be? I always like to lead with the negative, get any negative out of the way before we ask the next question, which is, what do you feel we excelled at? Number 7, how did you hear about us? Through our advertising, by referral or other. Please specify where and by who. You know, you and I want to know what's working in our business as far as how prospects are coming to find us and do business with us. Number 8, I'm on page 2 now. Number 8, why did you choose to do business with us versus any other agent? Okay, that's a measurement of your unique selling proposition, isn't it? What's your USP? It's that important question that asks prospects why they should choose to do business with you versus all other options. So we're asking them that question. Why did you choose to do business with us versus all other options? Number 9, if you participated in our Sunday tour of homes, what was the best thing about it? Number 10, how did Craig's team concept help get your home sold? Number 11, do you feel that based on prices that similar homes were selling for, that you received a fair price? And number 12, based on your experience, would you recommend others to do business with us? If so, please write in your referral's name, phone number, and address in the space provided. In appreciation, please find enclosed a free gift certificate to be used at La Spiga Italian Restaurant. Thank you for taking the time to complete our survey. You've been a great help. Okay, so let's close that out now. That's the survey that you're going to use. Let's next go to testimonials. Okay, we're almost done, and then we'll take your questions. So go to testimonials. Now, how are you going to get these testimonials? Well, obviously, you're going to know when good surveys come back who you should be approaching for testimonials. Make sure that you get good testimonials, specific testimonials, not weak, wimpy testimonials. What's a wimpy testimonial? Wimpy testimonial would say something like this. Craig was a really nice guy. He did a great job. Okay, we really like Craig. Wimpy, useless. Okay, you want to have testimonials like those on page 1 under the testimonial attachments. Okay, after 5 months of being listed with another agent, Craig's team sold my home in just 26 days for 97.95% of the asking price. Or to the right of it, Craig actually bought someone else's home so they could buy ours. Scroll down to page 2. This talks about how to ask, prepare, and secure seller testimonials. Okay, now this comes from Tammy, my customer care or my customer service manager. You want to read this. I'm not going to go through all this with you, but you want to make sure that you ask those that are happy with you. How are you going to know they're happy? Because you got the survey back. Survey comes back, they look pretty happy. You want to be all over those folks to get a testimonial, but make sure it's a specific testimonial that's going to mean something, not a useless, wimpy testimonial that says, I was really happy, you did a really good job, you're a really nice person. You don't want to use those kind. Okay, so I'm going to recommend you take a picture of them if they're a seller next to the sold sign, or better yet, video their testimonial. Get it on video, and you can use it as part of your PowerPoint listing presentation or buyer presentation. You know, actually showing the prospects that you're trying to get the happy experience video clips of people that have used your services before. Why not do it all? Get written testimonials for the newspaper with a picture and get video for your website and for your PowerPoint presentation. Okay, the more testimonials you'll have, the better. So you all know that, right? Everyone knows, gee, it's a good idea to get testimonials, but you're not doing it. You have to understand that one of the biggest mistakes that marketers make or realtors make is we make all kinds of claims, but we don't back up any of the claims with any proof. You know, where's the proof? The testimonials from your clients will be the proof that you need. They're going to believe what other people say about you long before they believe what you say about yourself. Okay, let's look at the last attachment here, referrals. Everybody download that one. This is the prop that I talked about earlier in the call. Okay, that's front and back of a card. Okay, so the front is your referrals are the lifeblood of my business. That's the actual front of it. The back of it is at the top. It says hassle-free referral program, where they actually fill in the name and the address of the prospects that they want to refer to us, and they pop this in the mail. Now, the language, scroll down to page 2. This is the language that you're going to use after you get the listing agreement signed. Now, back in the old days when I didn't know any better, it was kind of like a race to get in and out of the seller's house as quickly as possible so I could get on to the next appointment. Well, I came to learn that it's very productive to spend an extra 5 minutes after you have the listing agreement signed, before you run out the door to try to convince the next person to do business with you. You want to leverage off of the relationship that you've just forged with this new seller. Remember, earlier in the call, we talked about their reticular activator. What's the reticular activator? They're now into real estate. They just listed their home. They're going to be talking to everybody about real estate. Their neighbors, their friends, their family, their coworkers. I want you to plug yourself into the natural conversations that these new sellers, these people that just listed their home with you, are going to have. They're going to have these conversations whether you do this or not, so why not leverage off of this and plug yourself into these natural conversations? So this is the dialogue that I want you to use. Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Sounds good, right? That's going to be their name, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Thank you for listing your home with me tonight and allowing me to represent you in the purchase of your home. Okay, this is for purchasers. I'd like to leave you some of my business cards. You hand them 4 or 5 business cards. I don't want to operate like so many other agents who spend a lot of their time knocking on doors, looking for business, because this takes me away from what I should be doing, which is working to get your home sold. Okay, that's a mistake. First paragraph should say the sale of your home. I thought that was messed up. So, correction. First paragraph should say represent you in the sale of your home. Okay, because we're talking to a seller. So the next paragraph makes sense. I don't operate like so many other agents who spend a lot of their time knocking on doors looking for business, because this takes me away from what I should be doing for you, which is working to get your home sold. So instead of taking time to hunt down new business, I want to be able to concentrate on taking care of the business I already have And the more business I receive through referrals, the less time I need to spend on getting new clients. This approach not only allows me to concentrate on the selling aspects of your home, but also affords me the time to keep you up to date on the results of my marketing strategy is yielding for your home, or if it's a buyer, I guess that's what they're doing here, or if it's a buyer, finding that perfect home for you. See, my office is pretty efficient here. They've made this, they're making this work for you, whether it's a buyer or seller. Can everyone see that? Which kind of threw me off. I didn't know they did that, but that's cool. In my experience, I found that when people like you are buying or selling their home, they have a heightened awareness of others who are thinking of doing the same. If you do come across someone who's thinking of buying or selling a home, I'd appreciate it if you'd pass out my card. We've had a great experience from this referral program from loyal clients like you. And then this is just our note here. Remember, the best time to ask for referrals is immediately after the client has signed a contract with you. Okay, so I didn't know they did this, but they've, my office here is, they're making this work for you, whether it's a purchase or a sale. So you're just going to have to massage the copy there. But you want to, you obviously want to be asking for referrals, whether they're a buyer or seller that's just signed a contract with you. And when I say signed a contract, with a buyer, I'm not talking about an offer to purchase and sale. I'm talking about the buyer contract. When they sign the buyer contract, you want to hand them those referral cards that you see here on page 1, and you want to use this kind of language and program them, whether they're a buyer or seller, for referrals. Spend an extra 5 minutes instead of running out of the house as soon as you get the buyer agreement, the buyer agency agreement signed, or the listing contract signed. Spend 5 minutes. If you ask people for help, guess what? They're more than happy to help you if you did a good job for them. What do we call this? The law of reciprocity, right? I'm nice to you. You want to be nice to me. Okay, so look, we're at the top of the hour. It's time, as always, to take your questions. So I hope you enjoyed this today. Let's take questions and comments on the material that we've discussed here. We'll take as many as we can. Let's go back to our operator, Andrea.
Our first guest is Chris Lefeur. Please go ahead.
Hello, Chris.
Hello, Craig. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Quick question. Good. Quick question for you. A lot of clients I'm working and communicating via email, like, thank you for purchasing, selling the property, all of that. Would you still send the letter, or would you email those letters?
Yes, I like the letters, Chris, because everyone's lazy today, and everybody tries to use email, but that's what's going to set you apart. Hardly anyone takes the time to actually send someone a personal letter. Okay. When's the last time that you've actually got a personal letter from somebody?
I don't remember. Oh, yeah, I got for my birthday, actually.
Right, it stands out, right? Like, you have to go all the way back to your birthday. So I really like, you know, following up, of course, with the phone, because that's personal. But I like sending out personal letters.
Okay. The second question I have for you is, I'm in Toronto market, and a lot of agents, I am hearing or seeing as well that they are giving a gift when they sell the property. What is your thoughts about that?
You don't need to send out a gift. You don't need to cut your commission. You don't need to. You just need to take really good care of your clients. I mean, the $50 gift certificate to the free dinner is a nice touch. It's all you need, is something like that to create a little bit of reciprocity. But it doesn't have to be something expensive or fancy. It's just a way of you thanking them. But I like sending that gift certificate along with the survey, because it kind of, in a nice way, you know, creates that reciprocity, you know, compels them, a higher percentage of them, to fill out that survey. Once the surveys come back, you and I can measure our progress as to how good of a job we're doing. Like, Chris, if you sold 50 homes this year, and let's say maybe not all 50 people sent the survey back, but let's say 40 of them did, and 10 of the people were not happy with you, but 30 were, that would tell me, you know what, most of the time, you know, 30 out of 40 surveys came back very positive. I've got some tweaks to make, but overall, people are having a pretty good experience with me. It wouldn't send me back to the drawing board to rip everything up and start over again, right? But if the opposite was true, if you sold 50 homes and you got 40 surveys back and 30 out of the 40 were not happy with you, I think, you'd be sticking your head in the sand to think that you don't need to make some changes.
Right.
Now, of the people that are happy with you, now you know exactly who to concentrate on to solicit some testimonials and referrals.
Okay. All right. So what I'm hearing is the gift of $50 from the restaurant that is good enough to say thank you for a business.
Well, I'll tell you something else that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Most of these people, my customers, would use the gift certificate for the restaurant on the weekends. So the restaurant owner was always talking me up. But guess what would happen in Newmarket at La Spiga restaurant on a Friday or Saturday night? It'd be a whole bunch of happy Craig Proctor customers there saying good things about me. It was a really good environment. And of course, I would make a habit of going there at least once a week on a Friday or Saturday, make an appearance, and the restaurant was, selling 30, 40 houses a month like I did. I always had a lot of my clients there. It was a great way to talk it up, meet with them socially, and get lots of referrals.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much, Greg.
All right, Chris, thanks for being on the call here today. Let's see who's next.
Scott Jones, please go ahead.
Hey, Greg.
Scott, how are you doing today?
Great, thank you. Just a question I had is, I saw the little advertisements on the newsletters and stuff. What do you charge for that? What do you think that should go for?
Okay, well, I'm not trying to be cute, but get as much as you can. The more clients you have, the higher price you're going to demand. So when I started off and I only had, 100 prospects, I didn't ask for that much. But when I had 1,500 prospects, I could demand a much higher amount from my affiliates. The way I explain it, Scott, to my affiliates is this: like, let's say that you were my lender. I would say, well, Scott, even if these people don't buy through me, they're still going to get a loan, and you're still going to benefit from getting your name and your face in front of these prospects. So, what is it worth to you to have your company in front of 1,500 prospects that are going to buy or sell real estate this year? And the bigger that number is, as you can see, the more leverage, we have to try to negotiate a higher price. But getting something is better than getting nothing. And even if you get $50 a month from your affiliate as a starting point, it really starts off that relationship on the right foot, right? You're getting $50 as you grow your business. You go back to them every year, and now maybe it's a couple $100 a month, and you slowly grow that amount. But getting something is better than getting nothing. If you give, here's the mistake that we make. We set a bad precedent with our affiliates because you're going to work really hard to grow your business, right? And if you're not asking anything in return from your affiliates, what happens is you spend more of your time and more of your money to grow your business. If your business doubles or triples, your affiliates are going to benefit, but they didn't do anything.
Right.
Right. So if you go from 50 transactions to 100 transactions and your lender's business doubles, shouldn't they participate in that?
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
But we're so used to just spending more money and more time and just giving all these clients to our affiliates on a silver platter, never asking for anything in return.
Yeah, perfect. That answers my question. $50 would be perfect if we can get started, and then it has.
Yeah, well, that's why you want to get them. You want to get them used to participating in the growth of your business. You want to get them in the habit of this is the way it's going to work. And look, if you have a lender or a title company, a real estate attorney that doesn't think that's reasonable, maybe it's time to find a different affiliate.
Right.
I don't think it's an unreasonable request.
I agree.
Right? If your business doubles, then their business is going to double from you.
Right.
So the way to negotiate this, we've all heard the old saying, in negotiations, the person that speaks first loses. So I would do this, Scott. I would say, if you're the affiliate, I'd say, well, Scott, on a yearly basis, what do you think my business is worth to you? The number that they say to you will likely be higher than what you would ask for. And if not, you can always ask for a bigger number. But that's a technique I've used, and I found that they usually come back with a bigger number than what I was going to ask them for.
Okay, perfect.
And then you can say, well, if you think it's worth X, well, guess what? Next year I plan to do twice as much business, so I'm going to be looking forward to getting 2X from you. That sounds fair, right?
All right, that sounds good.
Okay, Scott, thanks. I hope that helps out and you enjoyed the call.
Perfect, thanks.
Let's see who's next.
We have Frank Garnados. Please go ahead.
Hi, Craig.
Hi, Frank. How you doing?
Oh, great. Thank you. My question is basically a follow-up to the last question. When you ask let's say, a lender or a title company to participate in your growth, what is the best way to keep it away from being a kickback?
Okay. Here's how it works. A kickback would be it would be deemed a kickback if they were just giving you money with no service in return. You're selling them advertising in your newsletter. So they're paying to advertise in your newsletter. That's not a kickback. A kickback would be if I'm the lender saying, hey, Frank, you send me all your buyers, discourage them from using anyone else, and if you send your buyers to me, I'll give you $500 every time you send me a buyer. Okay, that's illegal because there's no service being exchanged for the $500.
Okay.
Okay. What you're doing is you're not directing buyers or sellers to any of your affiliates for money. You're not getting a kickback. You're not saying to the buyer, oh, I want you to use ABC company. You're simply going to affiliates and saying, hey, I have a newsletter. I'm into this Craig Proctor program where he teaches me direct response advertising, and I'm building a database of people here in our community that want to buy or sell. Craig has shown me how to inexpensively and automatically get buyers and sellers to raise their hands. In my database, guess what? Every month it's growing. I have 50, I have 100. Pretty soon I'm going to have hundreds, maybe eventually thousands of prospects that are going to be buying or selling real estate in the next couple of years. So, Mr. Lender, Mr. Title Company, Mr. Home Inspector, would you like to have your name in front of these people? Because they're going to be buying or selling. They may not necessarily buy or sell through me, but they're going to buy or sell. It's called targeted marketing. And you're going to sell that advertising opportunity to these affiliates. So it's not a kickback at all. It's them paying to advertise in this newsletter vehicle that you've created to your very targeted database that you spent a lot of money and effort to create. So totally legal.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Craig.
Thanks, Frank. Let's see who's next.
Our next guest is Tom Vellante. Please go ahead.
Hi, Craig.
Tom, how you doing?
Excellent call. Thank you. As a new agent, very brand new agent, basically sold one house so far. And with everything else, I'm just wondering how to somehow leverage myself so that I can do all these things with a limited database, customer base, and so forth.
Okay, well, look at right away, Tom, you can start to use all the prospect communication letters. You see in the attachments here, the first attachment is prospect communication. Start to use those types of letters when you're communicating with your prospects, because that's not based on how many homes you've sold. That's about doing a good job of communicating with future prospects. You can start to use your client communication letters as well. Okay, past clients, you don't need to worry about that right now because you've only got one of them. So, you know what?
Right.
Don't even worry about that. Client survey, absolutely you want to use that. Any clients you get going forward, you want to survey them, and you want to make sure that you get testimonials. So you can use testimonials and referrals as well.
Okay.
The only thing that someone in your position is not going to do is you're not going to run out there and likely get a newsletter and have advertisers for a newsletter. Why? Because your database is really small and you don't have a whole bunch of prospects to communicate with. So you don't have to worry about that yet. But when you do grow your database, you know that you can go to the coaching website and download any of this information and use it when the time comes. But start with prospect communication, because right now, that's your biggest opportunity is how do you get more prospects in the door? And client communication, how do you do a better job of taking care of those clients so you can get testimonials and referrals going forward?
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's see who's next.
Our next guest is Kate Martin. Please go ahead.
Well, the reason I was going to ask you a question is I had a listing appointment on Saturday and couldn't get, tried closing, couldn't get them to sign the listing agreement. They had met with somebody else and wanted to think about it. So I followed up with them this morning. They still haven't decided. They said they're waiting for that agent to get back with them with something this week. I have no idea what the something is.
Okay, were you the last one in?
Yes, I
Okay,
have requested to be the last one in.
Now, let me ask you a few questions. When you were last in, before you left their home, what happened? What were they saying to you as to why, if you were supposed to be the last one in, why they weren't going to list with you? Why did they feel the need to have to not, to wait and talk to anybody else?
Well, because their home isn't ready yet. They're going to be shooting for a June 1st date, and they, in essence, wanted information on what they should do yet to get their home ready. That.
What you need to do, if the reason is their house isn't going to be ready and it's going to be a couple more weeks, how I handle that situation is I would say, well, Kate, why don't we do this? Why don't we fill out the paperwork tonight? I can at least get it onto MLS, and we'll have no showings for a couple of weeks until you give me the green light that you're ready. But it'll enable me to get all of the marketing up and ready to go. So June 1st, when your house is ready, we'll have ads already in the paper. It'll be on our website. The feature sheets will be made. It'll give me a couple weeks to get a head start on all that marketing. So June 1st, when your home is ready for showings, everything will be ready to go at exactly the same time.
Yeah. And I have done that before. For whatever reason, I just did not close enough to get them to do that.
Okay, so where do we go from here? What do you think we need to do?
Well, I want to follow up with them with something of value in order to still keep me in the running. So that's what my question is. What item of value can I bring them? Should it be a certificate, offering them something off their sale?
Yeah, you almost need another reason to meet with them again, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what reasons could we have? They've been preparing their home for sale. How long ago were you last in their home?
I was just there Saturday.
Okay, so it's not like they've done a whole bunch of improvements between now and Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be tough.
To try to entice them, what I do is I have a stager. After we sign the listing appointment, I have a stager go through their house with them, just give them a list of ideas of things to improve their house to get it ready to go on the market. And so that is what I, offered them. I'd like you to hurry up and make your decision, and we'll send the stager right in to work with you. And
do you have a buyer that might be interested in that property that you can bring through?
No. I mean, honestly, no, I don't.
All right. Have they've talked to another agent since they met with you?
No, I was the last one in. They only talked to one other agent.
And you have do you have any idea as to how they're feeling?
She said, when I talked to her this morning, and I said, I really would like the opportunity to get your home sold for you. I'd love to work with both of you. And she said, well, I would really like to work with you. So it's probably the husband who seems to be more analytical.
It came across that way, like she was kind of saying, if it was me, I'd really like to work with you. Is that your
right?
feeling?
That's what she said. So I was thinking the husband came across more analytical, and she was more expressive. So I was going to compile some statistical data.
And that's your personality type? You're a high I?
No, I'm not. I'm more of a D.
A D. Okay, so you felt that you hit it off with her more than him?
Well, I thought I hit it off with both of them, but I could just tell that he was the kind that, you know, sat back, crossed his arm when he heard the price, you know, that kind of thing.
Okay. Here's what you want to do. It sounds like he's a C-type personality. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want you to see if you can set up another meeting to bring him some more information on the market. He'll like that, right? He's probably the kind of guy
that's what
that
I was thinking would
right.
work with him, is even compiling some more statistics.
Yep. And the statistics don't have to be about more home sales, because you probably have gone through all of that stuff. But you might want to do give him some stats on days on the market, list to sales price, success rate, you know, what percentage of the homes that are listed in the market are selling, you know, how long it's taking them to sell, what percentage of asking price they're getting, what percentage of properties are expiring, what's happening with the average sales price. It's going up, it's going down, it's going sideways, that type of stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, and just, you know, thought since I had the opportunity, I'd run it by you.
Okay, did you offer them a cancellation guarantee?
No, I did not.
That's another good idea as well, because remember, the high C personality doesn't like risk.
Okay.
Right? They don't like confrontation, and they do love information. And if you can use the extra information as the excuse for the meeting, and then offer an unconditional cancellation guarantee, and that language is easy, right? It's like, if you're not happy with me, you can cancel at any time. If you list with the other agent, you're going to be locked in for 30 days, 90 days, 6 months, a year. And I assume that you're interviewing agents because you don't want to make a mistake. So in reality, you can't make a mistake by listing with me. I can't just be good today to get your business. I have to be good every single day to keep your business.
Very good. Very good.
All right. Well, I hope you get it.
Okay. I hope I do too.
All right. Let us know.
All right.
We'll go back to Andrew. We'll see if there's any other questions.
Yes, sir. We have Christian Richard. Please go ahead.
Hi, Craig.
Hello.
We have some prospects that have signed the buyer agreement, and we've been sending them some homes, and they're not returning our calls or emails. So I want to send them something to get them, you know, back on track.
Yeah, it's never a good sign. Let me ask you a few questions. How long have you? Are they signed to a buyer agency agreement?
Yes, they're signed.
Okay, so they how long ago did they sign the buyer agency agreement?
We have some that dated back, I don't know, February maybe.
Okay, so in February they signed the buyer agency agreement. Now, did you get them out looking at houses right away?
Some yes, other no, because they haven't.
I find if you can get them out looking at houses right away, there's a greater chance that they're actually going to do something.
Okay.
But the danger is, you know, many realtors, they meet with the buyer, they get their commitment with the exclusive buyer agency agreement, and then they send the buyers home with the understanding, hey, we're going to email you every day any new homes that match your criteria. But then, like you say, weeks and weeks go by, and they're not calling you, and they're not responding to your emails or calls. What happens, I think, is they lose their motivation.
Probably.
So it's up to us. I mean, if anything, we can learn anything from this is we have to keep the momentum going. Think about this. They responded to one of your ads. You were able to get a meeting with them. You were able to get them to sign the exclusive buyer agency agreement. The next step is you've got to get them in the next 48 hours out looking at houses. And then every time you get them out looking at houses, you need to set the next appointment, you know, within a couple of days. You've got to keep that momentum going, because as soon as it's left that they leave your office, they've signed the buyer agency agreement, now weeks or months go by, many times they lose their momentum.
Yeah, I understand that. But what if there's no houses that match their criteria? Because what we do is when we're in front of the prospect, we have our laptop and we show them houses already. But sometimes there's nothing that matches what they need.
Well, you're going to have a problem finding them a home anyway if there's nothing that matches their criteria. you can't sell them anything. So, that you are always going to have buyers that you can't help. You can't help them with what they're looking for because what they're looking for doesn't exist.
Okay. Would you?
If I said to you, hey, you know what, I want to buy a home in your marketplace, but I only want to spend $50,000, you probably can't help me.
Right.
Right. So maybe they're just looking for something that's too good to be true. And you are going to have buyers that are looking for, they're impossible to satisfy because it doesn't exist. So the question is are they real buyers?
Mm-hmm.
That's not much different than meeting with the seller that wants, $200,000 more than what their house will fetch on the market.
Okay.
They'll say to you, well, I'll sell if I get my price. Well, this buyer's saying, I'll buy if you can find me this. You might be looking at that buyer and saying, well, if I found that, I'd buy it first.
Okay, so we should be leaving the appointment, the meeting with an appointment to visit within 48 hours.
Yeah, I wouldn't even sign them up to a buyer agency agreement unless you feel that their criteria is realistic.
Okay.
Because what you're really saying is the reason we can't show them homes in some cases is because what they're looking for does not exist in our marketplace. Right? That would be no different than signing up an overpriced seller. The seller will say, well, I'll sell, but there's no buyers in the marketplace that are willing to pay that price. Well, in this case, there's no seller maybe that's willing to sell their home for a price that your buyer is willing to pay.
Okay.
And that's why you've always heard me say at my seminars, the most important gift I can give all of you is the power of choice, the gift of choice. So you and I we can choose which buyers and sellers we're going to work with. So we don't have to work with people that are, unrealistic or insincere.
Okay. And for those that we didn't put on the road within 48 hours, I mean, should we continue calling them and emailing them, or we should?
Yes, if they're motivated buyers and what they're looking for is realistic, you want to keep the momentum going. Every time you take them out, you never leave that those showings without already discussing or booking the next time that you're going to go out.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Greg.
Okay, thank you. Let's see who's next.
Our next, Caroline Bouvier. Please go ahead.
Hi, Craig. How are you?
I'm good, Carolyn. How you doing?
Good, thank you. I have a question about your affiliate marketing concerning direct mail and not newsletters. Do you get them to share in costs for your postcards?
Only if they advertise on it. I have done that before where I'll have the lender or the real estate attorney advertise on one side of the postcard and I'll advertise on the other. The reason I got away from that is I found that I could make far more money using both sides of the postcard for my own message versus the amount that I could get from them.
That's a thought. I didn't think about that.
But, what would be illegal is them just giving you money for your postcards without any reference of them. It has to be advertising. Right. And I'll tell you what else would be illegal is it can't be an unreasonable amount. So let's say that on 1/8 of the back of your postcard, you had a little wee, like 1 inch by 1 inch ad for one of your affiliates and you were charging them some inordinate amount, then that probably wouldn't wash. Like, I'll give you this 1 inch square ad for $10,000.
Right.
That probably, wouldn't, because they would argue that that's not you're demanding an amount that was not reasonable for the advertising.
Okay. Well, that sounds good.
But,
maybe I won't do that.
Look, there's lots of different things that we can ask our affiliates to help us with, right?
Mm-hmm.
The newsletter is one. How about a client party? If you're going to do a client party, they could help you with some of those costs, right? What if you ran a full page ad in the newspaper every week, and they advertised, they ran a little ad with a lender, for example, the lender can help you at your Sunday tour of homes if you do a tour, and they can help you pre-qualify all of your buyers before you spend any time with these buyers showing them homes. I mean, it's not like, money that they're giving you, but it could save you time, so you'd know exactly which buyers you should be spending time with. They'd be pre-qualified before you meet with them or show them any property. So I would just sit down and think about different ways you can leverage off of these affiliates. Most realtors don't do that, right? As I said earlier, we do all the work, we spend all the money, and then we just give them our clients on a silver platter. Heck, I wish it was the opposite way around. Wouldn't it be great if the lenders and the title companies, the lawyers, the home inspectors sent us business? They blew their brains out on money, on advertising, and spent all the time that we do generating business for us, and they handed us, the buyers and sellers, on a silver platter?
Yes, it doesn't happen that way.
Oh, they would never do it, right?
No.
If we tried to flip the equation around to them, the way it works right now, if we flip that around, they would never go for that. They'd say, "Oh no, we're not going to go for that deal."
Yeah, I actually got 2 referrals from a lender that converted to transactions recently. So,
well, we're getting some smart lenders come through our seminar and go into coaching. Now, the lenders are running the ads, and they're giving the leads to the realtors.
yeah, that's a good.
Right? See, the lenders are getting smart to this. Like, well, let's control the buyers and sellers. We'll use Craig's program to attract buyers and sellers, so we don't have to beg the realtors for referrals. We're going to refer out the buyers and sellers to the real estate agents.
That's interesting. So you just started getting a few lenders coming into the program.
Yep.
They are smart.
Yeah, because if you're a lender, you're kind of reliant on real estate agents to send you business, right?
Definitely, unless you're sitting there in a Chase office.
Right. Unless you've got some advantage like that. But for most lenders, they are worried about where am I going to get this business from? There's all these lenders competing for the realtor's business. So some of the lenders have just decided, well, let's take things in our own hands. Let's generate the leads ourselves. You see, the conclusion they've come to is the person that generates the leads is in control of the transaction.
I agree with that. I worked for builders for a long time, and that's one reason I came to you, because I was like, I'm dependent on these guys, and when the market turned, my income went to zero.
Yep.
So I don't want to be in that boat again where I'm dependent on anybody for feeding me leads.
Yeah, that's a great part about this program is we only depend on one person, and that's us.
Exactly.
You can run as little or as many ads as you want to run. You can make as many phone calls as you want to make. You can meet with as many buyers and sellers as you want. You just need to follow the steps, and you'll get better and better and better at this.
Well, thank you.
Well, thanks for being on our call and part of our program. Okay, well, look, we are at the 90-minute mark anyway, so we're going to wrap it up. I want to thank everybody for being with us on our coaching call about ongoing customer communication. If you haven't had a chance to look at the attachments on this coaching page, I would definitely print those off. There's some really good stuff there when in regards to communicating with your prospects, your clients, your past clients, the client survey, how to elicit testimonials and referrals, some really good stuff that I used successfully in my business for many, many years. So none of this is theory. This is all actual, proven ideas and concepts that worked for me very, very well in my own business. So please implement these ideas. I mean, these are all great ideas, but they don't mean anything unless you go out there and implement it. So I want to wish you all the best, and thank you for being part of our call and our program. But that concludes our call for today. Thank you.